Good morning and welcome to Street Beat. I'm your host, April Moss. Parkinson's disease is a chronic degenerative neurological disorder that affects 1 in 100 people over age 60. It is the second most common neurodegenerative disorder after Alzheimer's. Parkinson's is very difficult to diagnose as there are no standard biomarkers or objective tests available. Today, we speak with some extraordinary women who are fighting this disease personally. From Team Fox Detroit, I would like to welcome founder and president Donna Rajkovic and first vice president Ivan Simov. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Tell me about Team Fox Detroit.
Well, Team Fox Detroit was founded in 2016. We started that. It's the grassroots for the fundraising efforts for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. Michael J. Fox founded this in 2006 in ways where anyone can start these fundraising efforts from your local.
So it's a national organization, and here in Detroit, you have your local plug, basically, and that's where you're using to fundraise money.
It's actually worldwide. There's 1,600 teams around the world.
Interesting.
And as far as we know, we are the only team in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
So Team Fox is found everywhere. It's just the grassroots. It gives us local people a way to fundraise. We do everything for free at our own cost, and 100% of the money we raise goes directly to research.
And tell me about your diagnoses. I know that there's a lot of similarities, but one of the things that makes it hard to be diagnosed with Parkinson's disease is that there are so many different things that you experience, and oftentimes it's difficult for doctors to give you an official diagnosis. Yes. Donna, can you tell me about your some of your
my little journey?
Yeah.
Well, it's just that, it's a journey. It's very hard, especially being a young onset Parkinson's patient. You know, doctors don't really look at you as a Parkinson's patient because they want to rule out all the other things. So it was. Probably, I was diagnosed in 2012, so it took them several years and many testing before they actually discovered that it was Parkinson's, and that through a DAT scan and all the other symptoms, that they ruled that out. So that.
Would you like to share what some of your symptoms were?
Well, for me, it started with the twitching of my thumb, and that lasted for a while, and then it would come and go, it disappears, and then my shoulders started to droop. And my gait changed, so my arm wasn't swinging when I was walking. Then it went into my leg. My legs started to drag, my toes started to curl. And so all these symptoms were happening, and they didn't know if it was a pinched nerve or what. They wouldn't really go to say it's Parkinson's because of the age. So, and the DAT scan, one of the neurologists decided, well, let's rule this out and see if you have essential tremors, your dopamine levels in your brain will be fine, but if there's lack of dopamine, which is part of Parkinson's, then that, with all the other symptoms, that's Parkinson's.
Okay, and did you have similar symptoms to her?
I had similar, a little bit different. I had dystonia on the right-hand side, so I had micrographia. I had trouble cooking dinner. You know, I was diagnosed at 47. My son was in high school, and so I was just slow, tired. My right leg had dystonia. I felt like, well, I was driving my son everywhere in the car. That's why my right leg was hurting so much.
Right. Okay.
And then I started tremoring on the left-hand side, and really when it crosses from one side of the body to the other, I'm lucky. My husband is a physician, so as soon as he saw some of these symptoms, he had some suspicions, and I saw a neurologist actually very quickly, but I probably had 15 years worth of back pain that I just attributed. I have some scoliosis. You know, you don't know, we're young.
Sure.
And it's usually an old man's disease, so as young women, that's not the first place they go, is Parkinson's.
Well, it's interesting. So Michael J. Fox has shed a lot onto this disease. Really, we didn't grow up hearing about it very much. And then with his celebrity status, he's been able to really educate people through research. Tell me more about what his impact has been for this disease.
He's our hero.
Yeah.
He really it is not easy to tell people about your diagnosis. And then it's not easy to get in front of people and then to be on national TV. I mean, people know him around the world.
Sure.
He has used his disease to step out for all of us who didn't have a voice. And he was very young.
So tell me about some of the events that you're having for fundraising opportunities that people that are watching this morning would say, you know, I want to be a part of that. Really quick.
Well, so here in Detroit, you know, we started off with a gala that this is going to be our 4th year having it. So I'm not a runner, I'm not a sports figure, so I could throw a big party. So we have a gala, then last year we started a golf outing,
We've participated in different runs.
And is all that information on the website too?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Team Fox and the D.
That's great. So log on to teamfoxandthed.com to help support this powerful Parkinson's organization. Up next, we meet a brave woman who is a young Parkinson's patient in a new clinical trial. Stay with us. Welcome back to Street Beat. As a busy working mom and wife, Sharon Vesh was faced with devastating news from her neurologist. She was diagnosed with Parkinson's at a young age and is now here to share her journey with us. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Please tell me about some of your symptoms and the things that you had to go through prior to your diagnosis.
So I was a former athlete, so I worked out a lot. I was a U.S. national team member, lived in Colorado Springs, so I was very fit. So when things were starting to change, being an athlete, you really kind of notice your body and you're very body aware. So things that were happening to me, I had noticed that I was starting to get this weird little twitch in my ring finger. And I thought, okay, it's kind of strange and unusual. Kind of brought up to my doctor, and she's like, well, you know, you're kind of getting a little older. Maybe it's thyroid issue. You know, you're starting to hit your mid-30s now. It's not uncommon. So we kind of checked it, slightly off, but not a lot. She goes, well, let's just try a low dose of thyroid medication to see if that helps. So we started that. Didn't do much, and I was like, okay. So then it started going from there to a little bit stiffer arm to going into my shoulder. I started getting a drop in my shoulder. And at the time I was working and traveling everywhere, and once again we thought, okay, went back to the doctors and thought it was, you know, from traveling and carrying bags, overworking out because I still continued to work out and was maintaining my fitness physique. And then we decided to do physical therapy, go through that. Had a lot of MRIs, CT scans done on the shoulder. They were trying to check, thought, did I have bursitis? Did I have a torn rotator cuff? Everything was coming back normal, so they decided to do physical therapy. We went through a whole session of doing all that. Still not much improvement, so we went through another session of physical therapy. Still wasn't seeing a lot of improvement, and things are just kind of getting a little worse. I was getting more stiffness, more rigidity. And then we decided to do a cortisone shot. And this is after many years of just dealing with it and seeing it kind of changing and moving from just out of the arms, starting to go into the legs. And I remember I'd run and go, my legs kind of feel like they're kind of getting a little tired. So I'd add weights to my running exercise. Thought I just need to build up more muscle tone. And then with doing the physical therapy, the same thing there. They're trying to add more weights. We're trying to figure things out. And this really went for, I would say, up to, at that point, we were going on over 6-7 years of going back and forth between physical therapy, between doctors, and just trying to figure out, you know, what's going on with the body. Nobody dawned on thinking that it was Parkinson's because of my age. I was early 30s at that time. And then it was finally a couple of years ago when my official diagnosis came, was when I went and got a cortisone shot done to my arm, and so I could golf. And I thought, okay, this is going to improve it. It's going to be gone. It's going to be better. You know, I'll have my muscles back to working. Didn't work. And then I remember coming back, and within a couple months later, the tremor, which had started in the ring finger, kind of spread up to the arm, started trembling more and started going into my leg. And I told my husband, I said, darn it, the doctor hit a nerve. I go, he hit a nerve with the shot. Now I got to deal with more issues of this spreading. So I made an appointment, went in and saw him and told him, and he's like, no, cortisone shot can't do that. He goes, it's impossible. He goes, have a seat and let me look at you. And he looked at me and he said, and I remember it was like the first official really hits to you as to when they say that you got something neurologically going on. He said, I think we're looking at this wrong. He's like, I think you have a neurological disorder. And I was like, no, I have identical twin sister. She has nothing. There is absolutely no way. There's no history. Nobody has anything. And first question was asked is there MS in the family? And I said, no. He goes, I think you need to talk to your doctor about seeing a neurologist. So I did. After a little bit of upset and angriness about him officially telling me that, getting over that, told my husband as it progressed into more of a prominent tremor, I said, yeah, I think it's time to go in.
Okay. And then now you are part of a clinical trial.
I am, yes.
So tell me about that.
So after officially getting the diagnosis and everything, you kind of search for answers as to what to do. I came across, and the only person I knew at the time that was another young onset Parkinson's patient as myself was Michael J. Fox. So I visited the website and I learned as much as I could about it, and I signed up for what is called Fox Trial Finder.
Okay.
And I was looking for a way to be able to be involved in research, being a mother, being young, and still having to be able to have an active life. You want to find something that you can, that will help you and help others. So I put in my information, and it was just within a couple of days, I got a response back that said, there's a clinical trial available in your area. It's actually out of Henry Ford.
Okay.
And I called and set up an appointment, and it's dealing with what is called alpha-synuclein, which is kind of a key contributor to Parkinson's. Everybody carries alpha-synuclein in their body, but for Parkinson's patients, it has a tendency to clump and create proteins that kind of damage the nerve system within the body. So I was like, absolutely, I want to jump on board with this. And yes, I've been involved in this clinical trial where we intravenously do injections of this binding protein that binds to those sensitive areas that are being damaged.
Now, Sharon, on this website, on the Michael J. Fox website,
Yes.
are people able to go on there and get information about this?
Absolutely. I would encourage anybody, especially the young onset population that are looking for things that you can do, research, to be able to see what is available to you, or anybody newly diagnosed with Parkinson's. Definitely visit their website.
Thank you so much for being here today. I
thank
appreciate you
you.
sharing your story and really, honestly, your courage as well to just come on here and be able to be very transparent about the symptoms that you had as well. For more information on how you can help support research and finding a cure, log on to teamfoxinthed.com. Up next, it's one team, one goal, defeat Parkinson's. Stick around. Thanks for staying with us. Here to help educate us on moving forward following this difficult diagnosis and creating a support network for Parkinson's patients is Mary Sue Lanigan, Chief Executive Officer of the Michigan Parkinson Foundation. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Why was the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation created?
We were created in 1983 by a group of neurologists who were treating patients with Parkinson's and realized that once they gave them the diagnosis, it could be devastating. The average age of diagnosis is 58, and if you are otherwise healthy, you're going to live 20 to 25 years, same lifespan as anyone else. And they would send them on their way with this diagnosis with no information on how to manage the disease. So they came together to form a foundation to provide education and support to people with Parkinson's.
And tell me about some of the support groups that you offer.
We have 76 Parkinson's support groups around the state of Michigan. We have a 2-hour program for the newly diagnosed. We offer it once a month. We have a 5-week series of classes called Living with Parkinson's. We provide respite care for people with Parkinson's to give the caregiver a break. We pay for that. We provide financial assistance for medication. We are now providing financial assistance for exercise classes. Exercise has been proven to be very helpful in managing Parkinson's symptoms.
Wow. So, and then you also have a partnership with the Kirk Gibson Foundation. Tell us about that and what
We
that looks like.
do. As many people know, Kirk Gibson was diagnosed with Parkinson's 4 years ago. And he's had a foundation for quite some time, but he's dedicated his foundation to Parkinson's research. And he learned about our organization and he contacted us, and we are partnering together to deliver a gala event called Everybody versus Parkinson's. And it'll be October 19th at the Motor City Casino.
Great. And anybody can come to that? You purchase
Anybody
a
can
ticket
come.
And,
Right.
Okay, a big fundraising event.
Right.
Is this your only big fundraising event, or do you typically do this throughout the year?
We have several events. We have a Metro Detroit walk coming up on June 8th, and then we have some walks in Battle Creek and Lansing.
And how have you seen an increase in awareness about Parkinson's disease since Kirk Gibson?
Kirk has created enormous awareness all over the country. He's an icon here in Michigan and a hero to many. And he's been very public about his Parkinson's. He was diagnosed 4 years ago. And like the ladies who were on here before, he was probably had it 4 or 5 years before he was actually diagnosed. And he is living an optimal quality of life because he's doing everything that you are supposed to be doing. He exercises. He does voice exercises. He's still working full-time for the Detroit Tiger organization. But he's been very open about his Parkinson's, and that has helped us. And his name and celebrity has just created an enormous amount of awareness for us.
Would you say that Metro Detroit has been a leader in the fight against Parkinson's?
They are. We are very fortunate. We've got the Henry Ford Movement and Parkinson Disorder. University of Michigan is a center of excellence for Parkinson's disease and movement disorders. Wayne State University has a great program. Ascension has a great program, as does Beaumont. So we've got very good medical care here in Metro Detroit.
And as you and I were talking before we started the show, you said there's a lot of research that's being done on Parkinson's, but there is one aspect that you wanted to point out.
Well, it's as I said, if you get diagnosed at 58, you will probably live 20 to 25 years with it. So it progresses slowly. So it's difficult to study over the course of a length of time. There's been a lot of money invested in Parkinson research, but one of the challenges in research is the length of time you have to follow somebody who has the disease. So that is one challenge.
And that's pretty much from the time that they are diagnosed, and
Yes.
there's oftentimes many years in between when their first symptoms begin and
Right.
their diagnosis.
Right.
Okay, so that is the key here, is that there's a lot of research, but it takes a long time to follow
Right.
that person. And okay, how can we best support people with Parkinson's?
Recognizing symptoms early, encouraging people to get medical treatment early, encouraging them to follow their medication regimen, exercise, taking and controlling voice exercises, staying social, don't allowing them to be socially isolated. I think Sharon mentioned that she just wanted to not go out for a while, and you need to stay out. Live your life.
Well, thank you so much. That's great advice, and I appreciate you being here today. To find out more or to attend their Everybody Parkinson's event on October 19th, please visit evsp.org. Up next, it's dance therapy for Parkinson's patients. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. I'm April Moss. In 2014, Oakland University Associate Professor of Dance Allie Warner started the Take Root Dance for Parkinson's Disease program. It empowers those living with PD by exploring movement and music to work the muscles of the mind and help us connect with those living with Parkinson's. Allie is here now, and you're going to tell us more about it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, it's a nationally known dance company, Taking Root. Take Root. Tell us about it.
Take Root started in 2014. My co-director Thayer Jonitz and I, we are both associate professors of dance at Oakland University, and we started making dances and decided that we'd make a company. So fast forward to now, and we have 7 dancers that are within the company and 2 musicians that play live and create all of our music for us, and we tour locally, nationally, and internationally.
And you're not just only in Rochester, but tell us about your other locations as well.
Well, Take Root is a company in residency at Oakland University. So that's where we give class, where we have rehearsals and work with students, but also work with our professional group. But as far as the Dance for Parkinson's Disease program goes, our outreach program, we are at Oakland University. We're also at One Ford Place in Detroit, at St. Joseph Mercy, Oakland in Pontiac, and at the Older Persons Commission in Rochester.
Great. What inspired you to create this program to reach out to people suffering with Parkinson's?
My parents' best friend, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease many, many years ago, and he went to Ann Arbor one weekend and took a class in Dance for PD that Mark Morris's dance group created, and they were coming through town from New York. He took the class, called me up and said, I don't know what you got to do, but figure it out, because that was the best I felt in a really long time.
Wow.
So the dance world's pretty small. I was able to reach out to my professional friends and found out where to get trained, got a grant from Oakland University, went and got trained, came back, said to Oakland, hey, can we start a program here once a month? Let's just start with once a month. And they were amazing and said, sure, of course, let's try it. That first class, I had 40 people show up, which was terrifying, but it's not what I expected. But from then on, we were doing once a month, and now we do once a week in all 4 of those locations once a week, which is just awesome.
And tell me a little bit about why dance is so important for PD patients.
Dance is really unique in the sense that we're exercising and we're using our bodies and movement, but we're also using our brains and we're being creative. I was just teaching class yesterday and one of our new dance members said, I feel extremely creative right now. And we use props, we use silks, we use sticks to make noise, we use tennis balls, we use all kinds of items to help us make movement, but it's also tapping into that creative part that we might not have tapped into in a really, really long time. A lot of people living with Parkinson's disease, their world is revolving around that, as it should be. However, we're giving them a space that is safe, that is fun, that is joyful, that they're feeling really good, we're laughing a lot, and everybody has PD, so everybody knows it. You come in, you know why you're there, but the best part about it is that we're supporting one another and we're having fun. Who doesn't like dancing to Aretha Franklin?
Absolutely, right.
Come on. Or James Brown, or Mozart, or
probably it helps
Latin.
them to kind of get out of the feeling that they are somebody living with a disease and just able to enjoy life.
Well, I think it's important that every one of those people has a story, and it's not a Parkinson's story.
Sure.
It's their story of, I was a runner. I was a violist, I was a tennis player, I was a poet. They all have some kind of story. So when they come to class, it's becoming part of a support group in a sense, where we all get to know each other really well and support one another and learn about one another and tap into that background in some way to then make it this wonderful community to be a part of. What I love is that we have PT students from Oakland University that come as a requirement of part of their class, but they keep coming back.
They enjoy it.
They love it. Yeah. So we have volunteers that are coming from the community, from the university, that are helping, that are dancing with our people. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey of Parkinson's. You can be early onset, you can be in a wheelchair. Everything that we do in the class is inclusive and includes everybody. So it's just joy. It's pure fun, and that's really important.
It's a wonderful thing that you're doing there. Thank you so much for your time today. And for more information, please visit takerootdance.com. That's a wrap for today. See you next Saturday at 8:30 a.m. for another edition of Street Beat.